On the other side of the kitchen, Marcus is starting to prepare the accompaniment to his tea cream. With a nod to Marie Antoinette, he's decided to let the French eat cake. Eccles cake, that is. But what's going on here? Surely a chef of his calibre isn't using a mixer to make pastry.
Marcus, you use a lot of kit in your cookery, don't you?
Yeah.
Can you do that without?
Yes. When I went to the factory to have a look at these being made, obviously factory, they made it in these huge big vats of machinery, and I've got to say the result was amazing. I learned a lot going there.
Yeah, I bet.
I really did.
Despite numerous attempts in the kitchen at his restaurant, Marcus had never been truly satisfied with his own recipe for Eccles Cakes, so he decided to visit the experts at the real Lancashire Eccles Cake factory at Ardwick in Manchester to see if they could offer him some advice.
I made some recently and they tasted like mince pies. So I just need to sort of finalise the recipe. I'm just looking for tradition, and I really want to see the technique of how they make it, because it's so easy to make this wrong.
He's come to meet Ian Edmonds, whose family's been involved in the manufacture of Eccles Cakes since the 1930s.
What I'd like to show you first here is the production area for our filling.
The secret to the success of a traditional Eccles cake lies in its simplicity. The filling has just 4 ingredients: butter, sugar, raisins and currants.
This is where the debate starts on the recipe for the filling of Eccles Cakes, because if you look at some cookbooks, especially down south, they will talk about adding spice, mixed spice, cinnamon, nutmeg. But our philosophy is, if you're going to spend a lot of money on a really, really good raw material like this, which has got fantastic flavour, why adulterate it with spices such as nutmeg, cinnamon, when you can just let the natural flavours of the ingredients speak for themselves, so it stays plump.
Just 4 ingredients?
Yes.
1, 2, 3, 4?
Yeah.
Simple as that?
Simple as that.
Why do we make things so complicated as chefs?
Then it's on to the pastry. This is made using flour, salt, a small amount of water and a whole lot of butter.
It has a visual and feel about it, like brioche.
It does,
almost the same, isn't it, in a way?
Yeah,
Very.
That's because it's just so rich. I mean, you can imagine the skill needed to work this sort of dough, because it's got such a high butter content and it's very rich.
You know, last week when I was trying the recipe, I did use homemade puff pastry, and it didn't work, and it didn't have the same effect. Just looking at this and seeing this recipe and how buttery it is, I can see why now it gets that flakiness with the way you've made it. And I think I've really got to come back to the roots of the recipe, and for me, I've got to start again.
And his Eccles cake education doesn't end there. The final stage is to bring all the ingredients together. This is largely done by hand, as a machine would break up the fruit and ruin the filling's consistency. Even though this is a labour-intensive process, the factory still produces almost 750,000 cakes each week. And with that sort of quantity, 1 or 2 shouldn't be missed.
I think the key to these is to keep it traditional. Yes. There's no need for me to change this.
No.
Because it is brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Fantastic.
Can I take those with me?
You can.
Back in the Great British Menu kitchen, Marcus can put what he's learned into practice.
So even at this stage of your great career, you're learning and changing,
Absolutely.
adapting.